Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Naveen Nadapurohit and I will be taking you through the domestic outbound transportation multi-stop scenario demonstration. We will be using SAP Transportation Management 9.1 for the same. So this is the agenda. First we will be discussing regarding the scenario overview, where we will cover the length and breadth of the scenario. Second is the major functionalities that are getting covered using this scenario. And then finally the system demo. So this talks about the different business entities or the business partners that will be playing a major role in this scenario. We have one plant, Quality Foods Incorporated. This is the plant manufacturer of food and beverages. And then we have three different customers, Whole Foods, Safeway, and Walmart. Quality Foods Incorporated is placed out of Los Angeles, California. Whole Foods is based out of San Jose, California. Safeway is based out of Fremont, California. And Walmart, it is based out of Oakland, California. The multi-stop scenario starts with the shipping point that is associated with that particular plant, Quality Foods Incorporated, where it will load the goods for the three different customers. And then it will start its journey and appropriately unload at each and every customer place. That is Whole Foods, Safeway, and Walmart. So there is one loading point and then there are three unloading stops, thus making it multi-stop scenario. This flowchart the end-to-end process overview. So the process starts with the creation of the sales order in the ECC system. We will be creating three different sales orders for three different customers. Once the sales orders are created in the ERP system, they will flow to the SAP Transportation Management System. The communication between the two systems happens with the help of process integration, PI, wherein we will be using the XML messages in order to act as a medium for communication between the two systems. So once the sales orders reach the TM system, they will be noted as order-based transportation request. These are the equivalent documents for the sales order that are present in ECC system. So once the order-based transportation requests are created, we will have to create the freight units for the same. What are freight units? Freight units are nothing but the atomic unit or the smallest indivisible unit of shipment that will be transported together in one vehicle resource. Like for example, I have a total capacity of 80 tons which I have to transport, but I have got a truck which is of only 40 ton. In this case, I will have to split my total capacity into two 40 tons and then load it into two different trucks and then ship it. So each 40 ton which is carrying together in one vehicle resource is called as one freight unit. So once the freight units are created for three order-based transportation requests for three different customers, the next step is planning. In this scenario, we will be using interactive mechanism for planning. That is the optimizer-based planning. We will be using the SCM optimizer engine in order to plan the freight units. What all things are required when we are doing the optimizer planning? First of all, we will require the appropriate freight units, and second, the vehicle resource with which it will be planned, which will be carrying the goods. So once the optimizer runs and it creates a freight order, which is an execution document, we will have to assign an appropriate carrier to it who will physically transport the goods. So the carrier selection in this case is done based upon cost. So once the carrier is selected and the execution is done for the transportation shipment, we'll be going ahead and do the charge calculation. Now, charges have to be calculated for the services that the carrier has rendered. So once the charge calculation is done, we'll be going ahead and creating the appropriate deliveries for the three sales orders. We'll be creating the deliveries in the SAP Transportation Management System, and then these will flow into the ECC system and create an outbound delivery for the three sales orders and will get associated with those sales orders. So once these outbound deliveries are created, the sales order status will get completed. And the outbound order-based transportation request, its status will be consumed completely as the execution for the shipment is already done. The next step is to settle the goods, the bills. So carrier has provided certain services for which he will have to be paid. So the charge calculation has been done for the same. So the appropriate settlement for those bills has to be done. So we'll create a freight settlement document for the same. And then these documents will be transferred for actually billing in the SAP ERP system, wherein it will create a service purchase order and a service entry sheet for the same. So this marks the end of the process. We'll go into the system demo now. So before that, what are the major functionalities that are getting covered using this scenario? So the first is the TM ERP sales order and the delivery integration between TM and ERP. The next is the invoice integration for TM and ERP. We'll be using the SCM optimizer engine for interactive planning. And then we will be using the carrier selection mechanism. The metric, it is based on cost. Go to the demo. So before we go into the system for the demonstration, there will be two major systems that will be involved for the scenario. The first is the SAP ECC system, and then the second is the SAP TM system. And we will be using the SAP PI system, which will be acting as a backend in order to properly communicate the transportation mechanism. That is the communication between the two systems. That will be done by the help of XML messages. So we log into the SAP ECC system. And here we will create 3 different sales orders for 3 different customers. The order type is TMOR, which is the TM standard order. The sales organization is QFS1. Distribution channel is RE. The division is 05. The sold to party and shipped to party will be the ordering party, that is the customer in this case. We'll create for the first customer, that is Walmart. So material will be peanut butter jar in this case, and the order quantity is 13,000. You can see appropriately the total weight and the volume fields have been populated. So once this is done, just click on save. So you can see that the success message has been given, that the TM standard order has been created. So appropriately, we will create for the other two customers also. Whole Foods. In this case, the material is the multigrain cereal box and the order quantity is 12,000. Click on save. And then we will create for the final customer, that is Safeway. The material in this case will be 24 pack water bottle. The quantity will be 625. You can see the appropriate total weight and the volume has been updated for 625 quantity that we have for this bottled water 24 pack material. Just click on save. So once the three sales orders are created, we'll then go into the SAP Transportation Management System. We'll be using SAP NetWeaver Business Client in order to open the transportation management system, since SAP TM is a web-based application. So in here, we'll check for the order-based transportation requests for the three sales orders that we have created in the SAP ERP system. So we'll go into the ERP logistics integration, the work list, and we'll go into this overview transportation requirements. So this acts as a work list or a bucket which will hold all the order-based transportation requests that have been created in the SAP TM system. I mean, we have created sales orders in the ECC system and that have flown to TM system. We can check here. So 14485, 86 and 87 are the three different sales orders that we had created for three different customers in the ERP system. The next step is we will be planning them. We'll select all the three freight units. The freight units in this case for these order-based transportation requests have been created automatically. So we don't have to create it again. So we'll just click on Start Transportation Cockpit. We will select the appropriate selection profile and the planning profile in this case. Selection profile is used in order to select the freight units that we intend to plan, and the planning profile is used in order to select the planning related attributes, like it can be vehicle resource, for example. So here in this transportation cockpit main screen, you can see there are four different quadrants. So the first is for the list of freight units that we have intended to select for planning. The second is it will show all the execution documents that have been created out of planning, the freight orders or the freight bookings. The third quadrant talks about the vehicle resource, trailers or the schedules, which will be acting as a medium for transportation. And finally, the overview, which will describe all the details of the execution documents, that is the freight orders or the bookings. So here we have selected three different freight units. We will be using the optimizer engine for planning. So I'll just create selected entries with all resources. So it will take into account all the different resources that are present and will select the best and the optimal one and create the execution document. So it gives a success message telling that all three of the three freight units that we had selected can be planned. So we'll accept it. So once we accept it, you can see that there is a temporary document that has been created with the shipping point SP01 for the associated plant Quality Foods Incorporated, and the destination location is Safeway. We will just click on Save so that it will create a permanent execution document with a unique ID to it. So that is what it has created, 254. So I'll select just it. And here you can see in the overview, it will show you the path it is taking for the transportation of that shipment. So it will start with SP01 where it will load all the three goods, the peanut butter jar, the multigrain cereal and the 24-pack bottled water for three different customers, and appropriately it will be unloading it at the customer location. When it reaches the final one, the maximum utilization of the resource will be 0. So once the execution document is created, the next step is to associate it with the appropriate carrier who will be physically transporting the goods. So we'll be just doing the automatic carrier selection. Here you can see in the screen that it will be showing me the list of all the different carriers that can be used for the transportation of the shipment. But we have done it as a metric based on cost, so it has appropriately selected the cheapest of the lot. So carrier JB Hunt is the one who will be providing me the service at the cheap rate. So I'll be going ahead and clicking on accept. And then I'll click on save. So the carrier has been associated with that execution document. So next step will be to calculate the charges for that particular carrier for the services he is going to provide. I'll just click on calculate charges and just click on save. It gives me a success message telling that the charge has been calculated. We can just cross verify the two things that we have already done, the carrier selection and then the charge calculation in the freight order, whether it is correctly populated or not. So you can see here in the general data tab that the carrier JB Hunt has been appropriately populated. And then I will click on the charges tab. You can see that the charges has been appropriately picked up from the carrier selection mechanism screen. That is 2,435 US dollars. So the next step will be in order to create the deliveries in the transportation management system, and then they will flow into the SAP ERP system and create the appropriate outbound deliveries. Different delivery proposals for three customers. Just click on send delivery proposals to ERP. So it gives me a success message. It will telling that the three delivery proposals have been sent to ERP system. Just click on back. So once the outbound deliveries are created in the ERP system, the status for the order-based transportation request, the consumption status should be from not consumed to consumed completely. I'll just click on refresh here. So you can see here. The last one is showing at not consumed. So probably we can log into the SAP TM system and check what the issue is. The transaction to check the XML messages in any SAP system, it is SXMB underscore MONI. So it has started the integration engine. Just click on execute. So here you can see the list of all the different XML messages that have been communicated between the two systems, ERP and the TM system. I'll just restart it once again. Just click on refresh. It has successfully passed. So I'll go into this freight order now. We can navigate to the document flow tab in this freight order. This tab will show all the different shipment documents that have been created for this particular transportation cycle, starting from the sales orders that we created in the ECC system to the deliveries. So we can pick up one of these deliveries and check in the ECC system. 17386. So you can see here, the ship to party is Walmart. So this is the outbound delivery that has been created for Walmart. The material is peanut butter jar. The quantity is 13,000. It has appropriately filled the total weight. The document date is 29. So the delivery data is correct, and we can even check the document flow. Here we can see that the sales order for this outbound delivery, the status is completed. The shipment has been executed. The next step will be to create the freight settlement document in order to settle the bills for the charge that the carrier has incurred during the transportation. So I'll just go into this particular tab, charges and settlement, and I'll just click on create freight settlement document. So here in this freight settlement document, you can check the initial status. It is showing as it is ready for accruals. The accruals can be posted in the ERP system, but it has not yet been transferred. That is what the confirmation status is saying. We can cross-verify the charges. It is appropriate, 2,435 US dollars. And this we can click on save and transfer to the ERP system where the actual billing will happen. So for the freight settlement document that we have transferred, it will appropriately create a service purchase order and a service entry sheet. Here we can see that it is giving a message saying that the data has been transferred to the ERP system for accruals to be posted. Just click on refresh. We can check it. There is no error XML. We can just check whether it has populated again or not. Yes, it has. So the lifecycle status for this settlement document is accruals has been posted and the confirmation has been received from the SAP ERP system. If you can go to the document flow, we can check here. It has created the successor documents, the service entry sheet, and the purchase order in the ERP system, and it has populated back to the TM system the unique IDs that have been created for the same. We can check the data in those systems. You can check the purchase order. So here it says the vendor is JB Hunt, which is appropriate. PO quantity is 1. We can go into the item details. Carrier has provided 3 different services: basic freight charge, fuel surcharge, and the discount. And then we can see the service entry sheet. So this is the purchase order. Just click. So here it is showing the 3 different services as well as the price for each of the services, the charges that has been incurred for the same. And then the document date and the posting date, which is today's. So thus the service entry sheet as well as the service purchase order have been appropriately created and the settlement of the bills is done correctly. That's the end of demo. Thank you.